Hi, I'm Chris from needlepointers.com. Today I have another hanging towel project for you. This is a way to hang towels with a wooden ring. I've seen crochet hanging towel patterns with either one or two rings and thought that the same idea could be made with fabric. So I created a free printable PDF pattern with three styles: squared, point, and curved. My version uses one ring and it can be held with a Kam Snap or a decorative button. If you'd like to find links to purchase the wooden rings and other supplies, plus a step-by-step photo tutorial, please click the link in the description of this video to visit our website. What you'll need for this hanging towel with a wooden ring pattern: our free pattern, which has three styles, approximately 4-inch wide wooden rings, one or two fabrics. You could use the same fabric on both sides, or you could use different fabrics. Some scrap batting, either a button or Kam Snaps. You also need standard sewing supplies. Your first step will be to go to the web page for this project, scroll to the end of the page to get the free printable pattern PDF. The pattern will print on 3 different pages, and it includes the 3 different styles. The pattern's not quite long enough because the standard page is only 8.5 by 11. So there's instructions to cut the pattern along this dotted line and then to add 3 inches to the pattern. And this gap here is 3 inches. When you're printing it, make sure you select to print at 100% or the actual size. The next step is to cut 2 fabrics and 1 batting. I'm going to be making this towel hanger to go with this towel. I sewed this border onto the towel with 2 fabrics I had in my stash. We have a tutorial on how to do this border, so you'll find that on the project page. I have cut out the 2 different fabrics and 1 piece of batting. And I'm using some leftover batting that I sewed together. It's perfect for this project. Place the 2 fabrics with the right sides together and then lay your batting on top. Pin the layers together. As shown on the pattern, I'll be sewing with a 1/2 inch seam allowance around 3 sides. So I'm going to sew down, across, and down. Okay, as I said, I'm going to leave this end open, one of the straight edges, it doesn't matter which one, on this pattern. And I'm going to show you a little trick for going around the corners. When you come up to the corner, stop a couple stitches from the end and put your needle down, pivot 45 degrees, and then stitch 2 or 3 stitches across, ending with your needle down again, and then turn again. That's going to put a straight edge on the corner, which will make it a little bit easier when you're poking out the corners when turning it. So again, I'll stop with the needle down, turn 45 degrees, stitch like 3 stitches, 3 or 4 stitches, and then turn again, and then continue stitch. And there you can see there's just a little bit of a corner there. And the next step is going to be to clip the curves. So where I stitched on the angle, I'm going to clip close to the curve, and then I'm going to clip out some fabric before and after the corners, which will help it lay more flat when we turn it. Make sure you don't clip over your stitching line. Next, I'm going to turn it right side out and use a pencil, a chopstick, or a turning stick to push out the corner. Take it to your iron and press it. If you're using 2 different fabrics, at this point you'll want to decide which fabric is going to be the front and which fabric is going to be the back. The back is going to show zigzag stitching. When that is turned to the front, you'll see a lot of this fabric, the front fabric, but when you fold it down and it's hanging, you're going to mostly see the fabric that's on the back. So decide which side you want to be the front and the back. For this one, I'm going to have it fold down like this. So the pink is on my front. We're going to either top stitch close to the edge with a straight stitch, or this is a perfect project to use those decorative stitches that are on your sewing machine. I recommend if you're doing any of these stitches, take a little bit of fabric and do some test stitches on it first so that you can get the length set to what you want it to be. For example, this one, when I stitched it at my normal length, it was very small and you couldn't really see the leaves. So I had to extend it to like 3.5 to get it to show better. So once you've selected the stitch and tested it, make sure you thread your machine with the colors you would like to show on the front and the back of this. Okay, so you can see here I've stitched around with a little flower stitch all the way around. I left this edge unstitched. The next step is to zigzag over this edge to hold it closed and finish the edge. There you can see I've zigzagged over the edge. Next we want the side that we determined was the back, which is actually the side that will be shown more on the front when the towel is hanging. Thread the wooden ring onto here and then stitch it down. So this is going to end up being the back. And then when we turn over the ring, it's going to hang this way, and then this end is going to fold down and have your snap or your button here. It shows on the pattern where to fold up to. When you fold it up, it's about 1.5 inches. So you can just measure with a ruler, or you can use the pattern to fold it up about 1.5 inches. If it's not exact, it's fine. You just want to get it so that it's far enough past the ring so that you can stitch across here without catching the ring. Go to your sewing machine and stitch a straight stitch right along the edge. I usually stitch it on the inner edge of where the zigzag goes back and forth, and just stitch a straight line. Okay, so you can see there's the straight stitch. This is the front and this is the back. I did get it a little bit off here, but it still looks okay on the front. So next we turn it so the front is facing up, and that's the side without the zigzag stitch. It's time to decide what kind of closure you want to use for your hanger. On this one, I used a decorative button. A larger button looks pretty nice for this project. If you don't have a button you want to use, you can always use a Kam Snap. And I have these special ones here that are stars that I used for this one. This is a great project to search through your button box. If you're going to gift this with a towel, then maybe you pick a button that goes with the towel. So I could pick this cute bee button that I have. I also found these buttons, which are interesting. That would be nice on there, or just a little bit larger of a round button. And the pattern does show approximately where you can put the buttonhole and the button. So the button is going to sew kind of close to the line here in the center, and the buttonhole will go along pretty close to your stitching up here. And then that will give you enough to wrap this around a pretty thick bar, like on stove or refrigerator. If you want to put on the snaps, you just pick out the different snaps and put them on. We have a tutorial on how to install Kam Snaps if you're interested in that. So here are my 3 different towel hangers. And this is the one I just finished with the bee button on it. And this one has the snap. So you can coordinate the towel hangers with the towels and make some nice gifts. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this hanging towel with a wooden ring. Like and share our videos, and if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to our channel so you won't miss future videos. Visit our website, needlepointers.com, for lots of tutorials and free projects. While you're there, sign up for our weekly newsletter so you won't miss new tutorials. Happy sewing!